So writing songs when you don't have a singer available or you yourself are not a singer can be quite a frustrating thing. We've all been there, we've written a song and we've had a great idea for a vocal part, but either our own singing ability doesn't let us do that, or we simply don't really have the way that we need to make that idea into a reality without having a singer present in the room. But that problem has now been solved. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you a cool product from a company called Dreamtonics. This is a synthesizer that allows you to add vocals to your songs. This is called Synthesizer V Studio. So Dreamtonics are a Tokyo-based company who specialize in vocal production tools. Synthesizer V is a program that uses real vocal recordings that you can synthesize yourself and turn into whatever you want. So the Dreamtonics team have actually recorded a bunch of different singers in different styles, different voices, different tones, everything else. And what you can do is you can plug in whatever note information you want into the program, turn that into whatever vocal part you can imagine. So as a songwriter, this is a great tool because you don't need to be able to sing. You can just write a part and then write the vocals with MIDI or by drawing the notes in, write the lyrics in, and there's your vocal part. But what's also cool is if you are a singer, you can use this to add secondary voices to your songs or additional vocal harmonies. It's a very cool tool that you can use in so many different aspects of music production. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you what this thing can do and how I use this when I'm writing songs as well. But before we do that, I wanna say a big thank you to the guys at Dreamtonics for sponsoring this video and letting me check out this really cool piece of software. This has been such a game changer for me in the last couple of weeks with my own songwriting, because I'm finding that ideas that I have, I can instantly put down because I'm not having to call up people I know that sing in a certain style and see if they're available to come and lay some vocals down for me. I can literally just get it done straight away. So this is a game-changing tool for my own workflow. And if you're someone like me who writes a lot of music, this will be very good for you as well, so please check this thing out. So what you're seeing here is the standalone version that I've just got launched from my desktop, but you can also have this as a plugin inside your DAW. You can also link the standalone version to your DAW with something called ARA, which stands for Audio Random Access, which is basically like a plugin extension that allows external kind of standalone programs to talk to DAWs as well. So there's a bunch of different ways you can run this. But in essence, it looks a bit like a DAW in its own right. So at the top, we've got the arrangement section. This is where we're gonna add all of our new tracks. You can drag and drop audio and MIDI into here as well. And basically we can build up a song arrangement inside here. The piano roll here is where we're gonna do our actual editing. This is where we actually create our notes, where we draw our notes in. And as I said, you can also play the notes in with the MIDI keyboard too. Then over here, we have some different options for how we can tweak the sounds. Now, we can go quite in depth with this. There's a lot of stuff you can do. So you can edit things on a note by note level. So I'm just gonna draw in some random notes. So that doesn't really make any sort of melodic sense. There's a couple of notes here that aren't even correct. But the point is, with this note feature, we can click a note and we can do a bunch of different things to it. But before we can do that, we need to select a voice. So when you first load this up, it's just gonna play a pulse. So I need to select a voice. Now I've got 3 voices installed, but there's a ton of other voices over on the Dreamtonics website as well. I'm gonna go for Natalie 2. So this is now taken on a human characteristic, even though the melody's not gonna be great to start. La 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 la. But if we can look at this, we can see where the pitch variation is. So it's not just like a set pitch like some synthesizer-based programs are. We've actually got natural vibrato here. What I can do is I can click a note and I can straighten that vibrato out, or I can add more vibrato. I can use the expression tool here to make notes more vibrant, refined, rigid, or raw, or any kind of combination of them. I can do AI retakes, where I can get an AI model to basically retake that word or the pitch of it or anything else I want to do, and I can comp between those takes. And then I can also adjust a bunch of different parameters for the voice as a whole, so I can make it more bold, soft, soulful, steady, warm. I can adjust the loudness, the tension, the breathiness, the gender, the tone shift. I can pitch shift it so it's in or out of tune. You get the idea. You can really do a ton of different stuff with this. And the other thing is you can literally click that and type in words so I could create an actual vocal melody. So I'm just going to do this and play.
This is a test.
Now, obviously we haven't dialed in the voice model at all here, and I've just done a bunch of random stuff, so that doesn't sound great off the bat. But let me change that to a different voice model. I'm going to go to Liam, and I'm going to delete these notes.
This is a test.
So some words sound better than others when they're longer.
This is a test.
There we go. You need a bit of time there for the actual word to form properly. But as you can see, you can do a lot of different things. Now, that's just a brief overview of what the software does. But what I want to show you is how I'm actually using this in my own playing. So I'm just going to drag in a song here that I'm working on. And I'm just going to make sure that's aligned. So this is a song that I'm currently writing that has no actual vocals yet. So it's just an instrumental piece of music. And about here, the verse kicks in. So my verse kicks in about bar 11. So I really want to add some vocals to this song, but I have an idea in my head for a female country sort of singing style, which I obviously can't sing because I'm not a female country singer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a vocal melody, I'm going to draw it in, and then we're going to use Natalie's voice model to create a piece of music. So this is in the key of G major. I'm using the chords G, C add 9, and D, with a D sus4 in there as well. So mainly the key I'm going to be using here is going to be G major. That's where I'm going to draw my vocal ideas from. So what I would do in this instance, if I was writing from scratch, I do have a melody in mind that I want to use for this already. But the way I approach these kind of things myself is I'll play the song, and I'll essentially just kind of play along with the scale, and I'll draw my melody from that. So that's sort of the melody I'm going for. So now I need to input that as actual note data. So I'm using a G and an F sharp. So that starts on the 11th beat. So I'm going to draw that into my piano roll. And then I'm going to go down to an F sharp. And then I'm just going to check my melody. So that's what I want. That's actually a bit different to the melody I actually initially came up with, but I actually prefer that one. So I want that as my melody. And then I'm going to go down to the A, E was my next note. That needs to be a longer note. And then finally down to the D on the last note. Then the next part, so it starts with the G to the F sharp again, then I'm going up to an A, so that's going to start on bar number 13. And then we're going back down then to that E note. So that's almost where I want it. I want that a little bit later and that a little bit longer. Right, so there is the vocal melody that I'm going to be using. So I'm quite happy with that. That's a good starting point for my song. Now, I'm going to load up my voice model. So I'm going to load up Natalie, and this is going to give me that same thing now, but with vocalized Lars.
la, 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 la.
Okay, so that's a great starting point now for turning this into a song. So now we need to add some lyrics to this now that we're happy with the la's. So all you need to do here is just double click on each of the words and then you can just simply type in a lyric. So I'm just gonna type in the lyrics, and when you press tab, it automatically goes to the next one. So I've actually seen part of the melody I already want to change. So I'm actually going to delete this note here and elongate this note. So I'm actually splitting this word up across two actual different notes. So there's actually going to be a pitch change mid-word here. And then I'm just going to do the second half. Okay, so here is the first pass of my vocal melody.
Stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
So that's a pretty good start. There's a few things obviously I want to go through now and refine, and that's where the different tools come in use. But you can see how easy that was to literally just put a vocal part down on the actual track. So now I want to actually go through and think about how do I want this to be sung. Now there's a couple of parts here where there's some quite extreme vibrato, so I definitely want to click on those notes and kind of straighten those out a little bit because they're a little bit more intense than I'd probably want them to be. So I can do that. I want to straighten that one out a bit because that one's held quite a while too. I want certain words to be a bit more vibrant, so I want that first word to be quite vibrant, and I want that word to be a bit more vibrant.
Stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
So you can see it's very easy now. I just want to extend
I just can't say no.
Sometimes extending a note makes it feel a bit more natural as well, so keep that in mind when you are programming vocals. Some words just flow better when they're slightly longer. Now, I quite like that actually. That's a pretty good start. I don't actually need to do too much fine tuning there, but now I want to think about the vocal performance as a whole. So let's see what happens when I move some of these things. So I'm going to go fully bold. So currently you've heard it with all these on 0. So this is the fully bold version.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
And we can go soft. Soulful.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
That's cool because there's a little bit more kind of pitch variation in that one. Steady, so this is going to be the opposite of soulful. This is going to be straight down the middle.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
And warm.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
Okay, so that's quite cool. There's some cool things there. So I want a bit of soul and a bit of warmth in that vocal, I think. And then down here, we can also adjust the loudness, the tension. The tension's interesting because you can kind of add a bit of this kind of vocal grit. If I put that up full, you can see it basically just gains everything out, which you don't want to do. But it kind of adds like a little bit of rasp or vocal grit. And I want a bit of breathiness in there as well.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
So now I can just play about with note length, just to make sure I'm exactly happy with everything.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
Now, truthfully, I'm kind of happy with that as a starting point. Now, that wouldn't be the final vocal on this, but as an idea to actually form this into a fully cohesive song, that is pretty much exactly what I want. You can also use this for adding other voices or harmonies or different textures. So I'm just going to duplicate this track for this. So when you right click and duplicate, you have duplicate, which actually makes an exact duplicate. So anything you edit in one will be edited in the other. But if you duplicate unlinked, you have control over changing the two of them. So this second track, I'm actually going to change to Hayden, one of the male voices. And I just want to listen to that first. It's going to be very high. This is going to be way out of his range.
I can't stop this feeling.
So I'm going to drop this at least an octave to make this work. So we're in G4 right now. This may even still be a bit too high.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
That's actually okay. So with the male voices, there's some other options. We've got falsetto as well. I'm actually going to add a bit of power to this and a touch of falsetto, I think.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
And together.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
It's a pretty good start. Now we could also get him to sing a harmony here. So if we're playing in G major, let's say I want to harmonize this in thirds. I'm going to bring the starting note down to an E. That'd be a good place to start my harmony. So it's G down to the E. So then we just need to make sure that the other notes are all hitting benchmarks of the G major scale as well. So these notes here need to come down to this note, which is the D. The next note in the scale down is going to be a C note. So these notes here need to drop. And then finally this lower note needs to come down to this B flat note, which is going to be there. I also realize I haven't changed this high note here, which is an A, so that actually needs to come down to a G. So now Hayden is singing a minor third harmony.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
When we put that together with the music,
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
so the third harmony doesn't work great with the track, but obviously you can hear in isolation.
I can't stop this feeling. I just can't say no.
There's probably a better harmony choice there for this kind of track, but you can see how that works in essence. So it's a really cool tool. I mean, it's so easy to lay down vocal ideas. You can also use this to add harmonies to your existing vocals. You might be singing on a song and doing this thing to add different voices or different textures to your own music. So yeah, this is a really cool tool. This has made a big difference for me in how I write songs. It's a very useful tool, and I really like the fact that I can basically take a song that I've written and add vocals to it. So you can see how easy this is to actually get started with. I've just taken my song, dropped it in here, and then I've written my vocal part. So now when I play the song, I've now got a vocal part added to that. Once I'm done with my vocals and done with my harmonies and everything else, I can then just export this, put it into my DAW and process it as if I was processing an actual vocal recording. So yeah, really, really simple. Even if you've never programmed anything like this before, this is so simple to get started with. So yeah, there it is. There is Synthesizer V Studio by Dreamtonics. As I said, this has been a real big thing for me. I've absolutely loved having this thing for the last couple of weeks. And I will continue to get a ton of use out of this because this is really helping me unlock different creative avenues, and it's helping me write songs with different singers in mind as well, which is quite fun because instead of writing for the people I know I can easily get to sing on a song, I now have essentially an unlimited library of new people I can write songs for and get into some different styles myself. So it's actually unlocked a couple of interesting creative doors for me too. So let me know what you guys think about this kind of thing. How do you feel about these kind of tools that allow you as a songwriter to open a bunch of new doors? It's very interesting and it's very different, and the technology is getting so good now that it sounds like a singer, which is really cool. I mean, it is a singer, it's a sample of an actual person, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm definitely going to continue to get plenty of use out of this thing. Big thanks once again to the guys at Dreamtonics for sponsoring the video and letting me check this thing out. This is so cool, and I can't wait to dig more into this. I'm sure there's some even more advanced features that I'm not even scratching the surface with. If you've tried this yourself, Let me know what you guys think, and there's some links down below in the description where you can check this thing out for yourself. Thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you very soon.